Okay, so if you're following the crypto scene, especially, the whole Pi network saga, it feels like trying to find solid info
Yeah.
is, well, it's tough. Just a ton of noise.
Oh, absolutely. It's like an information battlefield out there. You've got these really passionate communities, and one bad headline can cause a lot of confusion, maybe even push people into risky moves. The signal-to-noise ratio, it's really bad right now.
Which is exactly why we're doing this deep dive today. Our goal is pretty simple. We've looked at the biggest, loudest Pi network stories doing the rounds in late October 2025. We want to be your fact-checking filter.
Yeah, help cut through that dangerous mix of like speculation and actual verified stuff.
Because the most convincing misinformation, it always wraps itself in a little bit of truth, doesn't it?
That's the trick. You really have to switch on that critical thinking filter straight away. So, where should we start? That PiBridge thing, that made a lot of waves.
Let's jump right in there. Okay, segment 1. That official PiBridge utility claim. The headline was everywhere. Pi Network adds PiBridge utility before mainnet launch. Made it sound totally official, like from the core team.
Yeah, sounds huge, right? Like a major step. But let's be super clear up front. PiBridge is absolutely not an official Pi Network project. Zero connection to the core team, no endorsement, nothing.
Okay, so if it's not official, where's this story even coming from? How did it start?
Well, it's a real project, but it's independent. Third-party developers launched it way back in September 2022, actually. Here's the key technical point, the thing that kind of blows the whole official claim out of the water.
What's that?
PiBridge runs entirely on the Binance Smart Chain. It uses the BEP20 token standard.
Wait, hang on. Binance Smart Chain, not Pi's own mainnet.
Exactly.
So it's basically operating in Binance's world, playing by their rules, not Pi's.
That tells you everything, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole story right there. And it uses wrapped PI, WPI tokens, not the actual native PI coins from the Pi mainnet. If it's not running on the Pi mainnet, it's outside the official ecosystem. Simple as that.
But here's where it gets tricky for people reading these articles, because they weren't just making things up entirely.
No, and that's how they get you. They cleverly weave in actual verifiable facts. Like, they might mention the 3.36 million KYC completions in October, which is true.
Yeah.
Or they mention the open mainnet launch date, February 20th, 2025, also true.
Right, so they mix the real news with the misleading PiBridge stuff.
And the whole article suddenly looks much more legitimate than it is. It gets this sort of false authority.
So for anyone listening, any pioneer seeing news about a new bridge or some utility, what's the immediate red flag, the safety check?
The community's pretty united on this.
Yeah.
Don't trust any third-party bridge unless it's explicitly publicly endorsed by the Pi Foundation as an official dApp within the Pi browser.
Because the risk is
Losing your Pi. You're basically sending your tokens to an independent group outside the core team's security umbrella. If something goes wrong, there's no official support. Stick to the apps verified inside the official Pi browser. That's the safe play.
Okay, that's clear. Let's move on to the next big piece of hype, shifting from tech to more like regulatory buzz. Segment 2, the ISO 2022 compliance myth.
Ah, yes, that one. Saw that everywhere, too.
The story was, Pi Network will gain ISO 2022 compliance on November 22, 2025. And somehow this means it automatically becomes a global currency. Sounds pretty impressive.
It sounds impressive, but honestly, it shows a fundamental misunderstanding of what ISO 2022 even is. It's basically hype built on nothing relevant to crypto status.
So break it down. What is ISO 2022 then?
It's simply a global standard for financial messaging. Think of it like a common language for financial data, how information is packaged and sent. SWIFT uses it. Traditional banks are adopting it. It's about data formats, not about making something a currency.
And that date, November 22nd, 2025.
That date is a deadline for banks. Financial institutions need to have their systems upgraded to handle this new messaging standard by then. It has absolutely nothing to do with cryptocurrencies suddenly getting, like, special recognition.
So the idea that Pi, or any crypto, just magically levels up on that date because banks hit a deadline.
Pure fiction. Complete nonsense. There's been zero official word from the Pi core team about ISO 2022. Pi isn't on any official compatibility list. It's just noise, probably trying to generate some FOMO, you know?
Right. So if that's just noise, kind of begs the question for listeners, what should we be paying attention to? What are the real, actual milestones for Pi right now?
Exactly. Forget the bank deadlines. Focus on tangible progress within the Pi ecosystem itself.
Like the KYC numbers you mentioned earlier.
Definitely. That 3.36 million new KYC approvals in October. That's real growth, essential for network security and utility. Look at the Pi App Studio upgrades that shows they're supporting developers building on the platform. Keep an eye on the testing for decentralized exchanges, the DXs and AMMs happening on the testnet. That's crucial for future DeFi use cases. And watch the actual mainnet migration numbers. Another 2.69 million accounts moved over recently.
So focus on the tech development, the community growth, the actual migration.
Yes, those are the things that genuinely impact Pi's potential and future, not some arbitrary deadline for the traditional banking system.
Makes sense. Okay, let's shift gears again. Segment 3. We have to talk about these scam accusations. It's constant.
Impossible to ignore it. You see the headlines. Biggest crypto scam, pyramid scheme, sometimes even specific wild rumors like the core team dumping tokens.
We need to tackle this head on, but stay impartial.
Absolutely. And to do that, we have to start by acknowledging the legitimate criticisms. We can't just brush off all the negativity as FUD without addressing the real challenges Pi faces.
Okay, fair point. So what are the valid concerns? Lay them out.
Well, first, there's high centralization. Sources point out that, despite aiming for decentralization, the network's validators are still largely controlled by the core team. That's a fair critique. Second, volatility. You can't ignore the price drop. It hit an all-time high of around $2.98 back in February 2025, right? But since then, it's dropped like 91.4%.
Yeah.
That kind of massive swing definitely makes people nervous.
But hold on, isn't a degree of initial centralization kind of normal for new blockchain projects while they're building out? Is comparing it to fully established decentralized networks fair at this stage?
That's a valid counterpoint. Many projects start centralized. The critique here, though, is often about the pace of decentralization. Some argue it could or should be happening faster given how long the project's been running. It's a reasonable concern for people investing time or effort.
Okay, what else?
The big one looming right now, token unlock risk. This is serious. There's a huge chunk of PI tokens, somewhere between 121 and 172 million, set to be released onto the market in November 2025. That's a massive potential selling pressure.
Wow, 121 to 172 million tokens hitting the market basically at once. Yeah, the market needs to be deep enough to absorb that. That's a major risk factor.
Huge risk. Then you have the criticism about the referral system, how it resembles a multi-level marketing setup. That raises eyebrows for many.
And the lack of major exchange listings.
Right. Still not on the biggest players like Binance or Coinbase. So yeah, centralization, pace, volatility, the upcoming token unlock, the referral model, exchange listings, those are all legitimate points of discussion and criticism.
Okay, so we've acknowledged the valid concerns. Now let's flip it. Why is calling it definitively a scam factually incorrect based on what we know?
Because fundamentally, a scam doesn't deliver anything. It doesn't function. Pi Network, whatever its flaws, is demonstrably operational. The open mainnet did launch back on February 20, 2025.
And the token is trading.
Exactly. It's tradable right now on respectable exchanges like OKX and BitChit. And the community numbers are real. 10.14 million people on the mainnet. Over 21 million verified through KYC overall. Scams don't typically build that kind of active, verified user base.
So the argument is, it might be highly volatile, maybe it's decentralizing slowly, maybe the tokenomics are risky, but that's different from a straight-up, non-functional rug pull.
Precisely. Development is ongoing. We see the App Studio updates, the DeFi testing. It's a project with real activity facing real challenges. That's not the definition of a scam, even if people have serious criticism.
Okay, good distinction. So let's move away from the FUD and the critiques for a moment and focus on segment 4. Actual verified positive news from late October 2025. What were the concrete wins?
The biggest one probably was the KYC progress. That figure we mentioned, 3.36 million new KYC approvals just in October. That's a record pace. It shows strong user engagement and is critical for building a secure, usable network.
And interestingly, it looks like that positive momentum was reflected in the price too, wasn't it? We saw a significant price growth.
We did. Pretty sharp surge, actually. About 22% between October 26th and 27th. The price went from roughly 0.207 up to 0.257.
Any idea what drove that?
Analysts are pointing to a couple of things. One was technical. A chart pattern called a falling wedge often signals a potential price reversal upwards. But maybe more importantly, there was significant token movement.
Movement where?
Off exchanges. Over 10 million PI tokens were apparently withdrawn from exchanges into private wallets during that period. That reduces the immediately available supply for sale, lessening selling pressure.
Ah, okay. So less supply readily available on exchanges potentially help push the price up alongside the technical signals. That's interesting.
Yeah, it suggests maybe some holders are planning to hold longer term, taking custody themselves. And alongside that, the background development continued with the Pi App Studio upgrade.
Remind us what was in that October 15th update.
They added more AI tools for developers building apps on Pi, things like AI to help generate logos, AI for writing welcome messages, tools to make it easier to tweak and update their apps.
So they're actively trying to make it easier for others to build on the platform.
Exactly. It shows a commitment to fostering that third-party developer ecosystem, which is crucial for any blockchain's long-term utility.
It's fascinating, though, how you have these solid, verified positive updates, KYC booming, price recovering slightly, dev tools improving, but they're all happening under the shadow of that huge token unlock we talked about.
That really is the elephant in the room. That November 2025 unlock of potentially 121 to 172 million PI, that's the major stress test coming up. Can the market actually absorb that much new supply without the price just collapsing?
That feels like the key question for the next month or so.
Absolutely. How the market handles that supply dump will likely set the tone and maybe the price floor heading into early 2026.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, segment 5. How should people, especially pioneers, navigate all this? Protect themselves, keep perspective.
Rule number 1, always, is verify your sources. The only truly official information comes from mindp.com, their verified social media, or the safety center inside the Pi app itself. Assume anything else is questionable until proven otherwise.
What are those instant red flags, the clickbait giveaways?
Big, flashy headlines like, Pi Network explodes. Any article or video giving you guaranteed price predictions, Pi hits $100 next week. That's pure speculation, usually designed to get clicks. Be super wary of anyone claiming inside info from the core team that isn't announced publicly on official channels.
And the absolute critical security tip, the one non-negotiable.
Your passphrase. The core team will never, ever ask you for your wallet passphrase. Not via Telegram, not email, not anywhere unofficial. They also won't ask for your KYC details outside the official KYC app process. If someone asks for your passphrase, it's 100% a scammer trying to steal your Pi. End of story.
Okay, so vigilance on sources, watch for hype words, never share your passphrase. Got it. Now, pulling back to the bigger picture, what's the balanced takeaway on Pi Network right now?
I think it's crucial to understand what Pi Network is not. It's not some guaranteed get-rich-quick scheme. It's not risk-free. And it's definitely not becoming an official global currency on November 22nd just because banks are updating their messaging systems.
Right. And what is it then?
It has an ambitious, ongoing, experimental blockchain project. It clearly has active development, and it has a massive, engaged community. But it's also a highly volatile asset. It faces very real, legitimate challenges around its centralization, its tokenomics, especially that upcoming unlock, its potential mixed with significant risk.
So the message is, be cautious, stay informed using official sources, and maybe help others in the community by pushing back against the nonsense, by fact-checking claims before sharing them.
Well said. And, just as a final thought to leave people with, we found an interesting data point in the sources. Right now, Pi Network's price has a remarkably high correlation coefficient with Bitcoin. It's sitting at 0.87.
0.87. Wow, that's incredibly high, almost moving in lockstep with Bitcoin. That seems kind of counterintuitive for a project that emphasizes its unique mobile mining and independent ecosystem goals.
It does, doesn't it? So here's the question to ponder. Given Pi's stated goals of decentralization and building its own unique utility, if its market performance remains so tightly bound to external factors like Bitcoin's price swings, rather than driven by its own internal developments and adoption, well, how truly independent can this experiment ultimately become?
Interesting question. Something for everyone to think about. Thanks for breaking all that down.
Always good to cut through the noise.
We'll catch you on the next Deep Dive.